Hello and welcome. My name is Scott, and I will be guiding us through this beginner's practice of yoga. Before we begin, though, I would like to discuss a few things about yoga itself. The word yoga, broken into its root of yog, means union. So as we move through our practice of yoga, we are seeking union. Now, union between what? We find union through our asanas of the mind and the body. So we want to use our mind to move our bodies. So as we begin today, I invite everyone to recline on their backs into our Shavasana posture, grounding through the pelvis and the shoulder blades, and gently relaxing into our mats. And if we notice any tension through the low back, feel free to bend the knees, drawing the feet flat upon the earth. Perhaps we'll gently walk the feet towards the outer edges of our mat, finding that alleviates any tension that we might be feeling. It encourages a gentle lengthening through our low back. So we find ourselves relaxed into our Shavasana. I invite you to begin to draw the awareness of your mind to that natural, rhythmic flowing breath, exactly as it is, moving in and out of the body. And as we observe this breath, noticing how each inhale is a gentle expansion through the body, and each exhale, that ability to release into our foundations. So we inhale, finding that gentle lengthening through the spine, and our exhales find that ability to relax into our ground. And as we become acquainted with this natural, flowing breath, noticing the calmness and the stillness that exist with it. And as we find that calmness and steadiness, trying to maintain both throughout the duration of our practice, I invite us to gently bend the knees if we haven't already done so, drawing the feet flat upon the earth. Gently, we'll begin to hug the knees in towards the chest, while finding that firm foundation through the pelvis, continuing to lengthen through the spine, the shoulders relax back and down into the earth. Perhaps we'll find a gentle rocking to the left and to the right here in our Apanasana, encouraging perhaps that gentle massage. So we just draw that awareness to the low back, grounding through the pelvis. We'll gently release the arms alongside the body, finding the feet begin to extend out in front of us, grounding the heels upon the earth into our Shavasana posture. And gently we'll draw our right knee in towards the chest, continuing to ground through the pelvis. We want to reach through our left foot, finding a gentle extension along the left leg. We'll hug the low belly in, continuing to lengthen through the spine. And gently we'll begin to release that right knee over to the right armpit. Perhaps we have the arms drawn around the leg, maybe just our right arm, as we find that grounding through the pelvis, that gentle opening across the inner hip flexors. We'll continue to relax the shoulders into the earth as we maintain the length in our spine. Gently, we'll begin to draw that right knee back into the chest as we find ourselves gently extending through that right heel towards the sky. Now we can draw the hands to our hamstrings or perhaps our calves. As we continue to ground through the pelvis, we'll release the left hand gently to the top of our left leg. And then finding that right foot begins to gently fall over to the right. Finding that grounding through the pelvis, that lengthening through the spine. The shoulders continue to relax back and down into the earth. We'll find our right foot, gently then beginning to extend back up towards the sky. We'll draw our left hand up to replace the right. It releases down to the earth, and we'll find ourselves gently rolling across the pelvis onto our left-hand side, extending through our right heel and through our left heel. We hug the low belly in, and as it lengthens through the spine, allowing the shoulders to relax into the earth. Gently building this twist through our spine. Gently, we'll begin to extend that right foot back up to the sky, and we can draw the hands gently below the knee on the hamstrings, perhaps above the knee on the top of our calf, or just above the ankle, as we find our next inhalation begins to reach the forehead up towards our knee. And we'll begin to notice that the shoulders lift off of the earth. It strengthens across the abdominals, grounding through the pelvis. And then as we find that reach through both of our heels, perhaps we would like to invite more of a stretch through that right hamstring as we allow the elbows to gently bend. We draw that length through that hamstring. And gently as we release the hands from the leg, the shoulders release back into the earth. Our right foot gently floats down to meet the left. Gently we'll begin to draw the left knee in towards the chest, finding that grounding through the pelvis, that gentle reach through our right foot. The shoulders relax into the earth as we maintain the length in our spine. And gently we begin to release the left knee over to our left armpit, grounding through the pelvis, continuing to find that extension through the right leg all the way through the spine as it extends out the top of the head. We'll draw that left knee back in towards the chest. And gently we begin to extend that left foot towards the sky. The hands can rest upon the hamstrings, the calf, finding that we maintain the grounding through our pelvis, that length through our spine as the shoulders continue to relax into the earth. And we'll gently find that we release our right hand to the top of our right leg, as that left foot gently begins to float over to the left-hand side. Finding that firm foundation through the entirety of the pelvis. Hug the low belly in as we maintain the length through our spine. Gently we'll lift that left foot back up towards the sky, drawing our right hand up to replace our left. The left hand gently releases to the earth. Finding ourselves gently rolling to our right-hand side of our pelvis. Hugging the low belly in as we maintain the length in our spine, the shoulders continue to ground, building that twist through our core. And we'll continue to extend through both of our heels, finding that lengthening through our spine. Gently, we'll begin to extend our left foot back up to the sky. The hands can draw to the leg at the top of the hamstring just below the knee. Perhaps the hands draw above the knee on the top of our calf. Maybe we draw the hands just below the ankles, finding that availability of our posture. We'll gently begin to lift the forehead up to our extended knee, continuing to reach through our right heel, grounding through the pelvis. We want to notice that strengthening through the core as the shoulders gently lift off of the earth. And then as we continue to extend through our heels, maybe inviting that stretch a little bit more through that left hamstring, we can begin to bend the elbows, seeing as we can draw the knee gently towards the face as well. As we begin to release the hands from the leg or the foot, releasing all the way back into the earth, the shoulders ground to the heels, gently make their way to the earth. We'll begin to draw the knees gently back into the chest, giving ourselves a gentle hug around the shins here in our Apanasana. And gently we'll begin to find our way, rocking forward and back, Along the length of our spine, we want to roll up one side and down the other, giving the multifidus, that muscle along the spine, a gentle bit of a massage. And as we find ourselves rocking forward and back a few times, gently we'll find our way up onto our sit bones. Grounding through those sit bones, we want to lift the tailbone gently off the earth. We'll draw the soles of the feet flat upon the ground. And we want to continue to have those feet grounding firmly into the earth. We'll begin to allow the knees to gently separate. We hug the low belly in, maintaining the length through our spine. And we can find that stretch through the ankles and perhaps through the hips. We might find ourselves gently reaching the chest forward, inviting that stretch further through the hips. Continuing, though, to remember that we want to ground through those big toe mounds as we continue to stretch through the ankles as well. Then gently we'll find ourselves reaching through the chest forward and up, drawing the shoulders back, up and over the hips. We'll draw the knees together as we gently begin to make our way to our standing Tadasana. So we'll just make our way off the earth, drawing the feet anywhere from about hip distance apart to big toe and big toe mound touching with the heels slightly separated. We'll encourage that gentle lengthening out of this foundation as we gently activate the quadriceps. Hugging the low belly in, we continue to reach the tailbone towards the heels, finding that lengthening through the low back. We'll gently begin to work a strengthening across the base of the ribs as the obliques gently draw together, letting the shoulders relax. Back and down the spine. Gently we'll begin to draw the hands up towards the sky for our Utthita Hastasana. Now here in our Utthita Hastasana, we want to find that length from the foundation of our feet, all the way up through the legs, extending through the spine, as we let the shoulders then just relax. And we can find that we can extend through our fingertips as well. We'll gently feel perhaps that stretch in between the shoulder blades, that rhomboid muscle grouping, as those shoulder blades gently move apart from each other. Then we'll find ourselves beginning to hinge at the hips, keeping the spine nice and long. Invite a gentle bend into the knees. We'll begin to work a stomach to thigh connection. As we then allow the shoulders to begin to relax, perhaps we'll find a chest to knee connection. The neck will relax as the head falls freely for the earth. Finding our way into this forward fold, we'll just let the arms gently reach towards the earth. Wherever they fall, they fall. Perhaps we'll draw opposite hand to opposite elbow, inviting a gentle sway to the left and to the right, that natural movement through our spine. And as we even out this rocking motion, making our way back to our midline, we'll find our inhale gently lifts to our half forward fold, where we begin to reach through the chest forward to the wall in front of you. Roll the shoulders gently back and down the spine. We'll even draw the gaze to look forward in front of us. We want to find ourselves extending through our spine. And then gently we'll begin to work length into our legs as we invite the stretch to our hamstrings. And gently we'll begin to relax back into our forward fold, finding the hinge at the hips, that stomach to thigh connection. The shoulders relax as we draw the chest to knee connection perhaps. And the head falls freely to the earth as the neck relaxes. We'll gently then begin to draw the hands to our tailbone. As we interlace the fingers together, we want to keep our stomach to thigh connection. We'll gently begin to draw the palms to touch as we stabilize through our wrists. Reaching then through the knuckles towards the wall behind us as we work the length into our arms. And then perhaps we can begin to reach the hands up towards the sky, inviting that stretch into our shoulder girdles. And gently we'll begin to release the hands back to our tailbone, unlacing the fingers as the hands fall freely for the earth. We'll find that stomach to thigh connection, that ability to release through the shoulders, and then gently we'll begin to invite ourselves to roll up, one vertebrae at a time, stacking each vertebrae one atop the other, inviting this stretch slowly up the back. We allow the shoulders to remain relaxed as they naturally begin to slide back and down the spine, continuing to lengthen through the spine. That neck begins to extend towards the sky. We reach through the top of our head. And then gently we'll step the feet to about 4 feet apart. As we draw these 4 feet about 4 feet apart or so, we want to notice the ankles are in line with our wrists. It gives us a good gauge of the depth of our postures, according to the body that we have. Gently, we'll then begin to turn our right foot out to the right to about a 90-degree angle. In fact, a nice 90-degree angle. We also want to feel how the upper thigh moves inside of our hip. So now we want to keep those hips nice and parallel to the earth, as we then begin to bend our right knee. So as we bend our right knee, we'll make our way into our Warrior Two foundation. The hips are open as we draw a gentle stretch through the inner hip flexor of our left leg. We gently strengthen through our right quadricep as we find ourselves firmly grounding into our feet. We hug the low belly in, working length through the spine. We want to continue to reach the tailbone gently towards the earth, drawing that strength across the obliques as the floating ribs begin to hug together. And then gently we'll begin to reach through our fingertips. Finding that reach, trying to touch the wall in front of you and behind you with those fingertips. Encourage that expansion across the body with each inhalation. That ability to relax into your foundations with each exhale. And gently we'll find our inhale begins to lengthen through that front right leg. We'll find those hips gently begin to tilt onto its right hand side. Now as the hips tilt, we want to invite the stretch into the inner hip flexor and the hamstring of our right leg. We also would like to maintain the length through our spine. The hug of the low belly, gently as that top left shoulder begins to relax back and down the spine. We build that strength across the left side of the core. That left oblique, the intercostals and the serratus anterior. Just the muscles along the left side of the body. As that length remains in the spine, we utilize gravity to build strength. We utilize gravity to draw that stretch through the inner hip flexor of the right leg. And gently, we'll begin to draw the shoulders back up and over our hips. We'll find that we'll turn the toes back forward in front of us, that 90 degrees, so both set of toes are reaching directly forward in front of us. We hug the low belly in, we work that length through the spine, the hands gently will draw to the hips. And we'll find our next exhale reaches the chest forward as we find our way folding halfway forward. And as we find this halfway forward over this wide angle, we'll begin to notice the stretch in the hamstrings and through the inner hip flexors gently. And we can continue by releasing the hands towards the earth as we find the chest releases to the ground as much as our body allows. The neck will relax as the head falls freely for the earth, finding that forward fold over this wide foundation. And as we allow ourselves a few moments here, encouraging that length through the spine, the ability to relax into our foundations, maybe you would like to invite your knees to gently bend, seeing if that makes the posture a little bit more comfortable for yourself. But remembering that we would like to notice that we are putting effort into our practice. So we begin to work that balance between comfort and effort. Gently we'll find our next inhale begins to reach through the chest forward and up to that halfway point where we pause, drawing the hands back to our hips. We'll gently draw the shoulders back up and over the hips as we gently begin to draw the left toes to that 90 degree. We'll find that the femur gently moves. We'll hug the low belly in, the hips nice and square to the earth. As we feel that strength through this foundation, gently, we'll begin to bend our left knee. As we find that left knee drawing above the left ankle or just behind it, keeping the hips nice and parallel to the earth. We want to encourage that stretch through the inner hip flexor of our right hip. We want to find a gentle strengthening through our left quadricep, hugging the low belly in as we lengthen through the spine, beginning to reach through the fingertips wide. Finding this warrior two for yourself. A firm foundation. Lengthening out of the pelvic floor. And that extension through the fingertips. And gently we'll find that our left leg begins to extend. We'll tilt the pelvis onto its left-hand side as we maintain the length in our spine, utilizing the strength of our core, especially that right oblique, those right intercostals. As we maintain the length through our spine, we allow that breath to move smoothly and steadily through the body, building the strength of our foundation to allow it to stretch, inviting that inner hip flexor stretch into the hamstring. And gently we'll begin to draw the shoulders back up and over the hips. We'll gently begin to turn the toes back forward in front of us. We'll encourage that lengthening through the spine. This time we'll gently release the hands behind the back to the tailbone. We'll find ourselves reaching through the chest forward as we find that halfway point. And maybe we choose to remain here, keeping that length through the spine, that gentle stretch through those hamstrings. Maybe we find that we can begin to release the chest towards the earth, finding that forward fold over our wide angle. And then we can begin to draw the palms together, reaching the knuckles behind us as we lengthen through the arms. The hands gently begin to extend towards the sky if it's available for you, to invite that stretch to the shoulder girdle. And gently, we'll reach through the chest forward and up to that halfway point. The hands will draw back to the tailbone. We'll unlace the fingers as we exhale, the hands to the hips. Our inhale then gently begins to draw the shoulders back up and over the hips. We'll gently bend the knees, stepping the feet together as we just make our way gently to the earth into a nice seated position. We'll find ourselves grounding through the sit bones, extending the legs out in front of us. We'll find the hug of our low belly lengthening through the spine, and now gently invite your fingertips to your nose. So as we touch our nose, we're going to gently begin to reach our nose to our toes, finding that we kept the length through our spine. And as we didn't reach through the fingertip, but we kept those shoulders back and down to find that stretch that exists through the hamstrings and the hips. The strengthening that it takes to maintain length through the spine. And then gently we'll reach to the chest forward and up, drawing the shoulders back up and over the hips. We'll gently draw the soles of the feet together, finding the knees begin to splay outward. Now we don't really want to worry about the knees at the moment. What we want to find is that we ground through our sit bones. That we hug the low belly in to work that length through the spine. That we let the shoulders relax back and down, and that gravity will naturally begin to draw our knees towards the earth. All we have to do is allow the hips to relax so that they can naturally stretch. And then we can encourage that length through our spine to begin to reach forward, finding a gentle fold over this bound angle. Continuing to allow that breath to flow as calm and steady as our body allows. And gently we reach to the chest forward and up, drawing the shoulders back up and over the hips. We'll assist the legs gently to extend out in front of us, finding our way gently onto our backs in our Shavasana posture. And gently we'll draw the knees into the chest, wrapping the arms around the shins. We'll then extend the arms out to a T, nice in line with the shoulders. And we'll gently begin to release the knees over to our right-hand side. So as we allow these knees to gently fall over to the right, continuing to ground through the shoulders, allowing this gentle spinal twist. And gently, we'll begin to draw the gaze back up to the sky, the knees back into the chest. We'll find that the knees begin to fall over to the left-hand side as we continue to ground through the shoulders, inviting that twist through the core. Perhaps the gaze draws over to the right fingertips as we find ourselves melting into the earth. And our inhale gently begins to draw the gaze back to the sky, the knees into the chest, wrapping the arms around the shins, giving ourselves a hug of appreciation for everything that our bodies are capable of. And then gently we'll relax the arms alongside the body. We'll either extend the legs out for our Shavasana, or we'll ground through the soles of the feet to alleviate any low back tension we might have. And as we find ourselves grounding, connecting with the earth here in our Shavasana posture, allowing the awareness of our mind to draw fully upon the breath. And we can simply notice each ebb and flow. That ever so subtle change within our body. And as we gently begin to draw the awareness of our mind back to our bodies, we can begin to invite movement by wiggling the fingers and the toes. Gently we can roll the wrists and the ankles in circles. Perhaps an inhalation invites you to stretch as if you had woken from a nap. And gently, we'll begin to draw the knees into the chest, rocking over to our right-hand side. We can utilize the right arm as a pillow for the head if we wish, finding ourselves a few moments here. And gently, we'll begin to make our way to a comfortable seated position. And I would like to take a moment to thank each and every one of you for the effort that you put into your practice, for the effort that you put into your life. For all too often, the effort that we put in is overlooked. Knowing that your effort is acknowledged, and for that effort, thank you, and Namaste.